In example 4, we have Melanie owning a clothing store and her standard markup is 85%. So before we get on to this question, what exactly is markup? Well, markup is the amount of money that we add on to what we paid for something. So for example, you decide you're going to 7-Eleven, you run over to Sev and you already pay too much for a chocolate bar. So I don't know, say you went over there and you paid $2 for a chocolate bar. You come back to class, you sit down and your friend's sitting beside you like, oh man, I could really use a chocolate bar right now. Um, how about you give me that one? You're like, no, I just bought this chocolate bar for myself. I'm not going to just give it to you. So I say, tell you what, I'll give you $3. Fine. So they give you $3. The markup was that dollar. You added on, you paid $2, you got $3. The markup was the dollar, and that's your markup. We can also often say calculate our markups as percent. So if you go into a store, they have a standard markup. So they go and they buy something from the wholesaler, they bring it in, and they say, well, what are we going to charge people for this item? And the markup, depending on the type of store, is a certain percent. So Melanie in her clothing store, she marks things up 85%. So that means she figures out what 85% of her price was and added that on. So let's see what that looks like practically. So she bought a coat from the wholesaler at $125. So she paid $125 for the coat. So this is what Melanie paid. And she's going to add on 85%. She's going to add 85% of 125 onto the 125 to figure out what she's going to charge her customers. So what would the markup be? Well, we want to know 85% is how much of $125. Okay, 85 out of 100 equals X out of 125. So you could say, for example, your test is out of 125. How much did I get if I got 85%? Except for in this case, we're talking about money. So we've got a proportion. We solve it just like we normally do, 125 times 85, and then we divide that by 100. So X is equal to, throw that into your calculator, 125 times 85 divided by 100, and you get that it's 106.25. And what are my units here? Well, I'm figuring out how much out of 125. This is just a ratio, 85 out of 100. So this is the same units, so this is dollars. So she's adding $106.25 onto what she paid. So how much is she going to charge her customer? Well, the retail cost is equal to the wholesale plus the markup. Okay, so she paid $125. She's going to add on $106.25 to cover her costs, and that's going to cost then $231.25. So Melanie charges $231.25.